watching The Producer's Room, a streaming web series featuring the creators behind the hit songs of today's music industry. Songwriters, music producers, and artists discuss their creative process as well as examining current issues and technologies in today's rapidly changing music business. Your host is producer, songwriter, and educator Dave Tuff. Welcome to The Producer's Room.
Welcome to this episode of The Producer's Room. We're coming to you from lovely Marina del Rey, California here. And our guest today is Michele Vice-Maslin.
Yes.
And thank you for joining us for The Producer's Room. This is one of the many episodes we're filming from Southern California. And I was excited to talk to Michele today because we're trying to branch out. Remember, the show is about creators behind the hit songs, behind the film and TV shows you see. And Michele here has a lot of experience with all of that. So before we get started talking, let me go ahead and introduce Michele. She's an Emmy Award-winning hit songwriter and producer. And her motto, "Music is my air." I like that because the air's nice here. Sums it all up. Originally from New York City and now residing here in Los Angeles, Michele has had the good fortune of working with many amazing collaborators, including Nile Rodgers, which we'll get into. I have some questions about that. Paul Williams, Jerry Goffin, Tiffany, Kesha, and you were just telling me that your latest movie that you had a song in was Downsizing?
Yeah,
is that
two
correct?
songs in the movie,
Wow.
Downsizing. I was
Awesome.
very excited and happy.
What? Who is in that movie, actor-wise?
Actor-wise, Matt Damon stars
Oh, wow,
in the movie.
that's
Yes,
great.
it's his big movie
Great.
this year, and Alexander Payne directed it. And the music supervisor is Dondi Bastone.
Oh, yeah, I know
Yes,
that name.
Dondi is an awesome human.
So you.
Hope
I
it's
mean,
okay
speaking
mentioning
of no, it's great. In fact, I think this episode is really good for our viewers in Nashville because they're probably not as acclimated to the workings of film and television as you guys are out here in LA, and I think it's good for us to educate them as well. And I think you can do that by talking about your career. So, cuts with artists, but really what's impressive to me when I look at this bio is over 5,000 TV and film music placements. So
Yes.
if we listen to TV, we can pretty much hear you 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Is that correct?
Yes, it's constant.
Wow,
Yes.
that's so great. That's so great. So let's get into your story a little bit of where you're from and all that. And originally you said you were from New York. And you grew up in New York, is that correct?
Yeah, New York City.
Okay.
Queens.
Okay, and then what brought you out to the West Coast? Can you kind of lead us through some of your story there?
Sure. So I was making music in New York, and I was in high school, and I had a little band, and I was writing, and I could not take the cold anymore. The only reason I moved was because of the cold, really.
Right.
And I moved to Tucson, Arizona, where it was super hot to go to college. I studied creative writing at the University of Arizona. They have the best poetry center in the whole world
Wow,
there.
I had no
So, and
idea.
I studied poetry, not fiction writing, poetry writing. And it didn't last long, but I did go there.
But that's a great background for a songwriter already.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, music and poetry.
Right. And so I basically just anywhere to get out of the cold.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize I could make music in New York. I wasn't even thinking, oh, all the record companies are there because I was freezing. So this to me today is cold. I'm usually not in all this clothing. So that's how I ended up coming to California, was that I was in Arizona and I was in a band on the road, and my father was here for a minute for some work, and I came to see him. And that was it. I quit the band, moved here.
Wow.
I had $57. That was it, and I moved here.
So, what is your primary instrument, or did you sing in the band, or did you play an instrument?
I sang in the band.
Okay,
yes,
awesome.
I sang in the band. I play very poor guitar and very poor piano, well enough to write. I play like a songwriter. I can play the chords and bang it out.
Put that into action with 5,000 cuts. So, okay, so you get out here, and I also read that you worked for a video production company now. Was that in Arizona?
Yes. No, that was here.
Okay, that was here.
So when I moved here, you know, like within 2 weeks, I met all these people.
Yeah, that's great.
And I met a video company, and I somehow ended up producing these music videos.
Cool.
And I learned
Yeah.
So much stuff.
Yeah.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the Ramones and the Monkees and this amazing band called Suicidal Tendencies.
I actually remember that video. Was it Institutionalized?
Institutionalized.
I remember that video growing up to that because, you know, skating and stuff.
Yeah, that was so fun.
We used to watch that.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
The video is too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, a lot of people land here and it's the land of dreams and everything, but how did you, and I think this is important for our viewers, how did you start making these connections within the industry? Did you have a mentor? Did you just kind of go out and just really hustle?
That's a great question. Yes, I hustled. I'm from New York.
Right.
We're born with hustle. Hustle and no patience, I always say. We are born with no patience.
Yeah.
And so I went out and I hustled like crazy. And this is so much easier now with the internet.
Yeah.
But in those days, you actually had to go to functions.
Yep.
And I went to every function, that music publishing and the, dinners and panels and gigs. Every night I went to gigs and met all the local artists. And I just hustled and hustled and hustled. I put a band together.
Yeah.
I had a huge mailing list. I tried every which way to get, hi, it's me, recognize me. Yeah, it was very hard. It was very, very, very hard.
Going back to my original question, when you were here, what was your first kind of opportunity that presented itself that you kind of broke through as a songwriter?
Okay, so when I was here, I was an artist and I did performance art.
Okay.
Kind of like Bjork
Right.
or Laurie Anderson.
Yeah.
Or very bizarre stuff. I had films and actors, and I had people hanging from the ceiling on stretchers, polishing their nails and reciting poetry, and it was quite. I had quite massive and a big endeavor, and
That's
it was
a lot to manage too.
And all the A&R guys would come and they would go like this, because I knew now I'm hustling, so
Right.
I managed to hustle and make friends with so many people. Many A&R people are still my friends now, but they were in shock.
Yeah.
They had no idea what to do with this. You know, it was absolutely not mainstream. And the video producer and director who I was working for landed a major film, a huge $25 million, and back in those days, it was huge film. And he was a young guy, and he was making this film. It starred John Cusack, Tim Robbins, Fran Drescher, Rosie O'Donnell.
Wow, that's a cast.
It starred, and Sam Moore from Sam and Dave, and Junior Walker from Junior Walker and the All-Stars starred in this movie. So there were big heavyweights in this movie, but they were just starting out. Now heavyweights. And he needed songs because he had this band called the Swanky Modes, which was comprised of Junior Walker and Sam Moore.
This was the first time you were writing actually a soul song, because the other stuff you guys were writing together was a little weird.
Yes, so this was the first time that I had endeavored to write any kind of really R&B pop thing, you know. It was, with horns, we had real horn players that we produced the song with, and wah-wah guitars and everything. And so we finished this piece and submitted it. I submitted it to the director, saying it was from a friend under a pseudonym, and they loved it. And it's the first song that you see this group perform in the film.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Into, they're up on a rooftop.
What's the name of the film? I don't know.
The film is called Tapeheads.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, and the song is called That's Enough of This War Stuff.
Cool.
And it's like a 60s protest song against Vietnam.
Nice.
And it was very exciting for us. So this was the first thing that I had ever done that was, I made some little money, that was commercial in a movie, that was anything that besides the weird artsy stuff that I did. And then that's how it started. And after that, I started becoming a pop songwriter. Yeah.
Wow, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
We have to take a short break right now, just for a second, but we'll be right back.
What would a degree from Belmont University mean to you?
I'm so proud of you, darling.
Maybe it's time you found out.
Thanks, Dad. I can't believe I finally did it.
Belmont University Adult Degree Program. Finish what you started.
Welcome back to the Producer's Room. Once again, our guest today is Michele Vice-Maslin. We're coming to you from beautiful Southern California. And we were just talking about your first recording with Junior Walker and Sam from Sam and Dave in the movie Tapeheads. So then that led to a string of more film and TV, more artists. I did read that you had a #1 with Eden's Crush, is that right?
I did.
Wow. And so what's
that was way later, actually.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I'm jumping ahead, but
yeah,
I saw
fine,
#1 and I'm thinking, wow.
Yeah.
But just so our viewers could maybe go look that song up, what's the name of that song?
It's called Get Over Yourself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
that was in 2000, sorry.
Well, with some of your cuts here, I'm looking Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, that was in 2001. Yeah. That was #1 all over the world. That was a big hit. Big hit. It was the hit from his solo album.
Oh, great.
Not from the Backstreet Boys, when he put out a solo album. It's called Help Me.
Okay, so I'm sorry to jump forward, but when you were mentioning artist cuts, I was like, I just thought I'd mention some of
the first big hit I had was by Misha Paris.
Okay.
That was in 1990, actually. Okay. It was the first one, and that was with Niall. That was through Niall.
Well, is it too early to jump into you and Niall's relationship?
Whatever you
as a mentor,
want.
maybe?
Sure.
Well, how did that even come about? Of course, our viewers know Nile Rodgers from Chic, and now he's kind of had a renaissance with Daft Punk.
He has.
And all the
it's so exciting
EDM
for him.
stuff.
Yes, he totally has reemerged as an artist because he had become behind the scenes for quite a while as an amazing producer, producing, hit after hit, but yet he was behind the scenes and he's back out front and he's shining.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. He is the nicest man.
Wow.
He is so kind and so nice.
That's great.
So I'm his biggest fan. Yeah, so he helped me because basically my stepsister was hanging out with him and he wanted to hang out with her more, basically. And she said, okay, I'll hang out with you if you help my sister. And he did, which is truly amazing.
Yeah.
And he invited me to come to New York. This was so many years ago, it would date me. Let's not even say the year. But he invited me to come to New York, and he just let me trail him. I mean, for off and on for 3 years, I was at his studio, Skyline Studios, then in New York, and he let me come into the recording sessions and watch what he did, and every single day, and invited me to gigs, and everything. He really, and then he introduced me to 2 young writers. One was basically his assistant and the assistant's partner, writing partner. And we wrote a song that became a huge hit.
Wow.
And that's how it really happened for me.
Yeah.
I had one more song with Sam Moore that Sam Moore did in a movie around the same time, too, in a movie called Car 54, Where Are You? The remake of the TV show. Sam was also in that movie, and I wrote the title song, which Sam sang. So that was right about the same time. And then I wrote this song for Misha Paris called Contribution with my friends that Niall introduced me to. And I got a publishing deal.
Okay.
So everything kind of happened. And Niall really helped and instigated that. And he wrote with me. And he's just amazing. So
for our assistant helper here today, Trey, were there some rappers on that?
Yes. So there were Eric B. and Rakim who are still rapping. There were huge rappers on there. They just had their 30th anniversary. And they just had a big deal in Billboard and all the trades. Did you see that? Yeah, about their 30th anniversary. So they rap on this song. So it was one of the first hip-hop songs ever, actually, Contribution, where Misha Paris sang and Eric B. and Rakim rapped.
Like the feature,
yes, the feature rappers. Yes, and it was the most amazing thing was the song wasn't even done. When Misha recorded it, I was back in LA. I had been in New York working with Niall and with them, and I had flown home, and I get home, and I get a phone call. She's recording our song. What? Because there was no song. There was like a chorus.
Yeah.
And we were up all night long over the telephone. In those days, there was only telephone, writing this song for her to come the next day to their bedroom in Brooklyn to record this song that didn't exist, but then existed. So it was quite an amazing feat.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So that's just so that's that world, and then you're still working in the film TV world, and you were just talking about, once again, hustling, and when we met today, you said, you know, I spend a good amount of time marketing my songs and making calls and keeping up relationships, and can you tell us a little bit about that, just the hustle of how it is trying to get your songs with artists and film, television, and all that?
Sure. So it's similar with artists and film and TV. I stopped working a lot with artists because there's unfortunately no money in it.
Right.
It really isn't.
Album sales,
It's
yeah.
very prestigious and
Yeah.
it's wonderful, but there's no money.
Right.
So I started in film and TV, and I morphed back to film and TV after having a string of major label cuts in the 2000s. I kind of morphed back into film and TV. When I was signed to it, my second publishing deal, which thank goodness I don't have any publishing deals, I was introduced by the head of business affairs, not a creative person, the head of business affairs, who's now at Warner Chappell. She introduced me to the soap operas. And that was the greatest gift that ever happened.
That's awesome, yeah.
So I was on the music team for Guiding Light, and I was on the music team for Another World.
So music team
and,
meaning, and once again, our viewers in Nashville may not be familiar with that term.
Well, the composers and the
Okay.
songwriters who comprise the music team.
Okay.
And although other people did write songs, I composed, I would say, the majority of the songs for the show.
Great, great.
And I did that for years and years and years and years until both shows got canceled. And also as the world turns, because this music supervisor worked on all those shows.
Okay.
And originally.
Yeah.
And so this was connected through a publisher, which was very happy. And I worked on those shows for many, many years. So while I was doing artist stuff, I was also already working in film and TV, which actually a lot of people found in those days very schlocky.
Really?
Yeah, they found it very low class, very uncool, but yet the paycheck was so big, especially network, because it was these were CBS network shows that aired every single day, that everybody kind of went, oh, this is nice. So all my friends made money. Everything we wrote practically got on the show. We wrote a lot of stuff for the show specifically. They used songs from my catalog, and it was awesome. And that's sort of, I've sort of always done film and TV, and yes, but I always knew those shows would get canceled someday, and I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I was afraid, because people kept saying, oh my God, you're making so much money, who cares? Why are you even working so hard? But I knew that, you know, so I hustled more, and I was always hustling for the next, you know, gig and show and artist, and
when you say hustling, keeping up relationships with supervisors or other writers or
all of that,
and
making new relationships all the time, and again, because this is still pre-internet, going to gazillions of schmoozes, just trying to meet people and connect and get the songs recognized, and writing with other people, and I was in Nashville for a while, and just learning to be a better writer, and learning to be better at marketing. Because it's really all about the marketing. In my career, it's been all about the marketing.
So are you glad that you had those two publishing deals? Like, I mean, you probably at this point say, you know, I know what a publisher does. I don't really need a publisher anymore. But at that point, did they help your career, at least introducing you to those soap operas and things like that, or?
Well, that's a great question, and yes, completely, because I was very naive. I was very green, young. I had no idea what a professional writer even did. I mean, I wrote weird, artsy performance art. You know, so I really was just learning all these things. And at the publishing company, the first publisher I signed with, Lionel Conway at Island Music, was the most creative guy. He was all about the writers and all about creativity. He really didn't care about money, and so it was a really wonderful experience, and I learned what a publishing company did, and I learned what a publisher did, and what a songwriter's responsibility to a publisher was. And I got connected to some really cool writers. And yeah, so I would have to say, yes, it was very at that point in time, but this is a very long time ago and a very different time.
Yeah, I agree.
This is a time when you really needed a publisher. You couldn't do it yourself. And so, yes, and the second publishing deal, also the same thing when I got connected to the soaps. Really invaluable, wonderful stuff. But the cons outweighed the pros. Yes, the cons outweighed the pros. And as the years went by, as if the music supervisors less and less wanted to use music that was encumbered by major publishers, the more it's become better to be independent.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Now, one thing I learned working in Nashville is it's almost like, at least if we're not here on the ground in Los Angeles, we need some type of middleman to represent us, but maybe my thinking is flawed in that, meaning, you know, one library that I do some work with is Crucial Music. And,
I love Crucial.
And Tom Beach is great.
Tommy's great. They're all great. They're very selective. They're very good.
But it's hard, I guess, for someone outside of LA to maybe keep up with those relationships with supervisors all the time. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I disagree about that because, you see, now we are on my pool deck, everybody. I actually, a little around the corner is where I sit all day. I sit here and pitch songs all day long, out in the sun, in a bathing suit.
Crazy.
My only contact is through the internet. I don't even have a smartphone. I don't talk on the phone almost ever, unless I'm working for someone who really insists that I pick the phone up. And so almost everything that I'm doing, I've never met these people. I've worked with some people for 20 years that I've never met in person and never spoken on the phone with, but they've used my songs constantly. We have a great relationship, and it's all email.
Okay.
And so
you're just working it.
I'm just working it. I'm working it by email, and I find that they like it better because I'm not bothering them getting on the phone going, hi, did you listen to my song? I'm just sending them music. If they want to download it, they can. If they want to listen, if they want to use it, you know, I don't follow up going, did you get it? Did you hear it? Did you this? And I just keep trying. So I'm hustling in a quiet way in this nice place because, you see, I'm getting rejected like all day, so it never gets easier. So no matter how much success, you can stand here and hold your Emmy all day, but nobody cares. And it does, so I can jump in the water and wash it all off. And yeah, so I believe you can do it anywhere. So in my opinion, right now, to be successful as a songwriter is the greatest thing in the world because we can be anywhere. And we don't have to go to schmoozes anymore if we don't want to. And we can hustle. I actually, even though I went to all those schmoozes, the most successes that I've ever had have been one-on-one. So there have been me calling you when I used to call on the phone, me calling you on the phone, or me emailing you. It has not been me meeting you at a party. And for me, that's not really been what's worked. For me, it's been direct, you know, connection that I read about you and thought, I would like to know you. I'm going to contact you. And so I think everybody can do this, and you don't need a middleman. And everybody can do this. It's most people can't take the rejection. That's the whole problem. You know, you have to be tough because you have to be tough. Because that's what it's about. It's rejection all day long, and I would say, like, for every 1,000 pitches, maybe someone says something nice. You know, I mean, I'm pitching thousands and thousands of songs and projects, and constantly, just all day, I spend maybe 8 to 11 hours a day pitching. And maybe 4 or 5 in the studio. I'm working about 17 hours every day. And I'm spending much less time creating than writing. And I spend a lot more time producing than writing, too. The writing is the least time-consuming part of it all. And I think songwriters write too many songs. They're not marketing. They're not making great recordings. They have this arsenal of songs that are just sitting
halfway done. Well, let's talk about that, because I think we need to educate our audience on what supervisors and films and all that are looking for. So, you know, master quality, we always hear those words. what type of lyric, like a universal lyric, or maybe just you could lead us through your creative process and how maybe writing for film, TV might be different than writing for an artist, or
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot wrapped up in all of that, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't really target my songs to be for film and TV or for an artist. However, unless I'm writing with the artist,
Sure.
because if I'm writing with the artist, it's what they want to talk about, and I am channeling them. It is not my job to
Sure.
be the star. It is they are the star, and if they want to write something sad and morose, I'm going to follow with them and help be the conduit for what their mission is.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm writing to pitch, I only, these days, write happy songs,
Yep.
up-tempo songs, songs about inspiring things, happy things. First of all, I'd rather pollute the world with happy songs.
Amen.
I'm a happy girl, and I want people to be happy, and I'm
Yes.
trying to make the world happier by that. That's my little
Sure.
contribution is not, and it's funny because a lot of my big records have been social conscious songs. So it's really where I come from, but still, even if it's not where you come from, if you want to get placements, write empowering, inspiring songs.
That's great.
You can't write love songs, nobody wants them except on a soap, and there are only 3 soaps left. Maybe on Grey's Anatomy, but there's a handful of artists. It's like if you want to really get stuff placed, you need to write inspiring, happy, up-tempo, especially dance pop, EDM pop. Right now it's all dance. There's not much rock. It used to be very rocky, but now it's not much country. I do a little, but there's not much.
Yeah, not much.
It's all, everybody just wants boom, 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 4 on the floor, dance music. So
But I think that's important to
read a lot
say
of
that trends change and you have to keep up
yes,
with
trends change.
what the newest,
Yeah, and if you get a request, like a lot of times I'll get a request for something, so I'll create it for them. But even if I get a request for something singer-songwriter and that's slower, 99% of the time I'm going to give you something that's inspiring and inspirational and not romantic and not about a relationship and not, because I know from experience that you are not going to gravitate towards that.
Sure.
It's not going to get placed.
Sure. Do they ask, some of these supervisors, do they ask you for actual replacements? Like we're looking for something that sounds like Mumford & Sons or that sounds like Demi Lovato or that, or are they that specific?
Yes, daily.
Okay.
Daily.
Okay.
Yes, I'm getting requests for things because the songs are too expensive. They have to replace them. They can't, the budget for their production can't afford the Demi Lovato song.
Right.
So yes, I'm being asked constantly for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Going back to master quality, of course, you have the fortune of being associated, married, I don't know, to a world famous producer.
Yeah, well, I'm the producer though. He's not producing.
Oh, he's engineering.
He's engineering, yeah.
So, but if you don't have access like that, the person.
Oh well, I didn't before I met him.
That's true.
Yeah. I work with someone like you who does it.
So,
I have a collaborator who.
Collaborator.
I'm a great producer. I hear everything and I know exactly what I want. But I am not a knob-turning great engineer. I do not know reverbs.
And you don't have to be.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to
hear
be.
It.
I work with people who can do that.
Right.
So I can tell them I want more echo here. I want this kind of echo here. I want a boom here. I want a noise that goes
Right.
Yes, and I can tell that to my husband, and he, of course, is the master, and he can execute it.
Right.
Or if I was working with you or whoever else
Right.
that I work with who can execute this, then so yes, you can be a great producer and not be a great engineer. You can also be a great producer and not be a great player. So I mean, if you look at my husband is a famous producer, and yet he is not the player. I mean, if you look at people like Richard Perry, I mean, people through the ages who are the big great producers, Tony Visconti, he's not playing on anything. I mean, these people are producers. They are directing and listening and making the overall sound of the project. And so that's my job. I hire all the right people and create the project.
Okay. So you'll notice, viewers, that we've moved because the sun here in Southern California decided to move. So now we have an even better pool shot. We were just talking about the creative process, and I was just curious where you found inspiration for your hooks. Do you keep a list? how do you fit them all together, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so everything, life is inspiring, people are inspiring, just talking to you, sitting outside at the pool, all of that kind of stuff. And in addition, when I read magazines or listen to people on the radio, I keep a list of little lines and little ideas and little snippets of things they say, and I string them a lot together to make the lyric, and they inspire my brain. And if I'm stuck on something, I look down the list and see if something.
That's cool.
Sometimes I hand my collaborators a sheet of paper with the list if they want to pull something that they see.
That's great.
And I and I like a lot of imagery and a lot of metaphor, and so I like the lyrics to be very creative.
Yeah. So do you start with your collaborators or with your main collaborator? I guess it's different with everyone, but do you start with the lyric, start with the melody?
Well, I personally start from scratch only. I'll only write from scratch, except with my main collaborator, who sometimes I'll bring in an idea, but with everybody else, I only will write from scratch. And with my main collaborator, he's an amazing musician. He's a guitar player and he's amazing, but for some reason he likes the lyric first.
Okay.
It doesn't inspire him to make music if there's no lyric. And so we will actually write an entire lyric from top to bottom, the whole thing with the bridge and the vamp and the everything, and then
it's like the Elton John Bernie
like Bernie, but except that I don't bring in the lyric. Sometimes I bring in a lyric, but mostly if we're doing it together, we just write the lyric together. And if we have collaborators with him, he's going to ask you to do that.
Sure.
But with other people, I tend to write anyway. The music first, lyrics first, both at the same time. I can do it anyway. It doesn't really matter to me, but he really prefers this.
Are you doing most of your collaborations in person or over the internet now? Or?
I don't do any collaborations over the internet. Only in person, so I'll only write, I have a lot of rules. I only write from complete scratch in person, in the same room, at the same time.
Okay.
Yes, no Skypes. You can't bring me a line, a title, a lyric, a melody, a track.
Right.
I won't write to a beat, nothing. It has to be from scratch. So it's our baby together and always stays that way.
Right.
Yeah, I've had a lot of bad experiences the other way.
Do you try to do two-way co-writes, three-way, four-way?
Doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I prefer two-way because, of course, we're dividing the pie up. A lot of times it's three-way, though, if there's an artist.
Okay.
Yes, a lot of times there's my partner and I and a third person and an artist. I'm okay with that. The most I've ever done is 6 in a room, and they were a team. These 5 people were a team, and Ashley kindly brought me in. And it was actually quite fun.
Cool.
You know, we don't make much on the placement.
But it's just a fun time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Speaking to that, one issue I always have is, you said you work 8 to 11 hours a day pitching these songs.
Well, that's just pitching. That's not even the writing part.
You're right. So you're writing with these people, and let's say that the co-writer's not pulling their weight. How do you justify that? Do you just write with people you know that are going to work it as hard as you do on their
That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
You never. I believe everybody pulls their weight.
Okay.
I've only had a situation once where someone did not participate.
Yeah.
Where they were off at the end of the room, noodling on a guitar, didn't participate, weren't involved. The song became a huge hit. And unfortunately,
that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. But that was the only time. It's never happened before. As long as we're together, seated like this, together, and we are working together, the vibe, the energy, everybody is contributing.
Right.
I don't believe. I do know people who count lines, count words, count notes, and I only write in equal splits. I decide all this up front too. I tell you this up front. I'm not going to write with you unless it's going to be an equal split, and it doesn't matter who contributed what. We're all going to discuss. Because I write with a lot of young people and a lot of kids, and they've never written before, but they tell me their story. And their story is the song. I mean, so it's all valuable and all important.
Let's talk a little bit about non-exclusive, exclusive, work for hire, because I know you've done all of the above. I saw that you did a girl pop thing for like Megatracks, so obviously probably
I work a lot for Megatracks.
That's probably a work for hire, I would assume.
Work for hire, love them. Love work for hire.
So that's beautiful because you get money and that's it, and then so that's the benefit to that kind of work.
Yeah, I get the writer's share. I get the royalties of the writer's share.
Okay, you do. So you get some performance and all that.
Yes, I get the performance royalties.
Well, that's good.
And And so it's wonderful. And
Yeah.
then I don't have to pitch those songs.
Yeah,
they
that's good.
pitch those songs because I'm always pitching songs.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's kind of nice to have someone else pitch the songs.
And then as far as some of these other supervisors or libraries, are they exclusive, non-exclusive? What are your feelings on that?
Well, personally, my feeling is if it's a library that is not paying for the songs
Yeah.
and buying them and
Sure.
commissioning them, then I only do non-exclusive.
Yeah.
And I love non-exclusive libraries. They're wonderful. You know, they
Yeah.
do great jobs.
Yeah.
They take different libraries take different percentages,
Right.
make different deals.
Sure.
But I'm pretty easygoing, and I love them. I
Yeah.
love them. I work with some really nice people,
Good.
nice libraries. Yes.
Well, good.
So, but if they wanted exclusivity, I will not give exclusives on songs that exist in my catalog.
Okay.
So I don't
So you're
believe
writing
in it.
it
I
for
don't
them.
think it works because it's not fair. They're going to tie up your song for
Yeah,
5
yeah,
years,
yeah.
and they may never place it in.
Sure.
So non-exclusive.
Unless they had like
Yes.
some quick reversion where it was like, we'll try it out for a year and we'll give it back to you.
Even that.
Yeah.
Even that. No, I won't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody can do whatever they
Yeah.
want, but I won't do it. I'll only do non-exclusives unless it's a commission.
Well, the reason
Yeah.
I'm asking that, it seems like more of these companies are going exclusive, and I don't know what the reason behind that is, if maybe supervisors are getting the same song from two people, but you know, it's strange to me that they want to tie all that up, but I'm sure there's
I don't
a reason
think it's
for that.
right, but that would
Yeah.
hit the nail.
Yeah.
The nail. They're afraid that too many, maybe the music supervisor's getting the same song from too many places with too many titles, or I've never had the problem, so
Yeah.
I don't know, but I understand that,
Yeah.
and it's fine. But I won't do it because I don't. I mean, I in my whole entire career have gotten a cut by a publisher once.
Uh-huh.
Once. Everything else I've done.
Yeah.
I have one collaborator who's gotten a few placements. Other than that, no. And I've had the libraries that I work with, every so often they get something. It's very sporadic,
Uh-huh.
and I'm grateful every time. But it's such a small percentage that I don't want to tie my songs
Sure,
up. My
sure, that
songs
makes sense.
up, and I don't want other people to, because I feel that you can tie your song up for 3 years, and it's very sad.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
the writers, it's difficult for the writers.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with our last segment. See you in a second.
The town has this energy. You never know who you're going to bump into.
We moved to Nashville, and I started singing in clubs 5 nights a week.
On any given night, you can go to the End and watch a show. You go to Tootsie's and watch a show. You can go to Exit Inn. You can go to the Ryman.
They're sick musicians and sick singers. It doesn't surprise me. It's Music City.
All right, welcome back to the producer's room. This is our last segment here in Marina Del Rey, and once again, we did change our angle because of the sun, so hopefully there's some good sunlight on us. We're here with Michele Vice-Maslin and just talking about, gosh, creativity and songs and everything, and co-writing and how all that works. So we have a section on the show, a segment called Rapid Fire, where I ask some questions. Maybe you'll have to kind of think about it, and if some you might not be able to answer just because they're a little deeper, but it keeps people on their toes. So
I'm scared now.
okay, so the first question, your perfect idea of happiness. I think we're already here, but
Oh yeah, I'm a happy girl.
Okay.
I just need some sun, a pool, and a hot tub.
All right.
I'm good to go.
Amen.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I like
I'm a happy
that.
girl.
I like that. Okay, so desert island. This is one. You're stuck on a desert island. You have either, if you want to do songs or albums, but 3 to 5 songs that are just kind of your favorites, or albums
Really hard, 'cause
that
I
have
never
influenced
listened to any
you.
music.
Well, even older stuff. Did you grow up with any particular?
What did I listen to when I grew up? Now I would not. Now, if I were alone on a desert island, the last thing I would want was any music.
Right. I'm kind
So
of with you.
I would have no music.
Yeah.
I have a friend, he's an A&R guy, and he used to have this bag on his wall, like an airline sickness bag, and on it he wrote music sickness bag.
Right.
Guess, that would be what I would post on a tree.
Yes.
So, Yes, but when I was a kid, I mean, I listened to stuff like Carly Simon and Carole King and James Taylor. Songwriters, real songwriters. Yeah.
Okay. Business, and we may have already covered this, but the best piece of music business advice given to you by someone, or maybe it's more than one piece, but
the most, I don't know best, because I'm always giving, learning and taking things, but I would say that the most interesting and funny thing that I was given was from the songwriter Sammy Cahn, the famous songwriter. Now, my grandmother was a child star.
Okay.
And she sang in the Yiddish Jewish theater, and she was the 8-year-old wonder child, and Sammy played piano for her.
Wow.
They lived on the same block in the Lower East Side in New York City. They were all very poor, and my Sammy, who I years later went to meet at his office at Warner Chapel, said to me this. He said, "You want to be a songwriter? Right. He said, and then he walked away. That was funny, and that was, interesting. I would have to say that like, I know a lot of people get like advice, and I've not been given a lot of advice. I've been given a lot of School of Hard Knocks. Fight for yourself, figure it out, fend for yourself, and so I'm just kind of always learning from everybody just by watching them, but not really. I don't feel like I've been given. Yeah. I wish I was given more advice. It would have been easier.
But
I give a lot of advice, and because I want to save people from all the disaster and stuff that I've been through.
Well, maybe we should flip it on that angle, because we do have a lot of younger viewers that are just getting started in the industry. But if you're working with and you said you write with a lot of younger artists, what maybe a few pieces of advice you might give them?
Well, I'm a lot of times shelling out music business advice.
Okay.
So creativity-wise, not so much, because I'm trying to help them learn how to write a song, the things that we take for granted, how to rhyme, how to write from their souls, or how to not write from their souls and pick a topic, or I'm teaching them that. But really, most people come to me for music business advice, like we're discussing here, how to place a song, how to make a master, what is required for the recordings to sound like. I'm mostly doling out advice a lot of times about things like instrumental sections. Instrumental sections, bad idea. Shouldn't have them in your songs unless you're making, you're famous and making a record, because the music business people who are listening, like the A&R people and the music supervisors and the music editors and blah, 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 are busy. And they don't have time. And the minute the instrumental comes on, they turn the song off. And they go to the next one in their queue, and it doesn't even mean the song is bad. They might like it. They might make a little note. But if you give them an instrumental section, they are done. They're done. They're tired. So I always tell them, put vocal leads, la-la-las, or something in
catch your attention.
Catch their attention, keep the vocals going, or just strip out that vocal section. So I'm always telling them that. I'm always telling people, make a bridge. I'm an advocate of bridges. Bridges take you somewhere, the middle eight, take you somewhere that's somewhere different lyrically, somewhere different musically, and then when you come back to the chorus, it's But when you don't have a bridge, which is kind of old school, because now most songs do, that's not good. So I try to tell them, don't have a long intro, because again, the people are so busy, they don't have patience for that. Get to the song, and make sure the song has a hard ending. We cannot have fades anymore.
That's true, film, TV.
Yes, no fades. The music supervisors and music editors freak out over the fades. And a lot of times when I pitch songs that are from my catalogs from the 80s and 90s, I have to say, sorry, there are fades. And also, tune the vocals. Okay, so everybody,
no shame in that.
Tune your vocals. I don't care if you're the greatest singer in the world, if you're Celine Dion, tune your vocals. Because if not, you are not going to get your songs placed, you're not going to get them cut, and everyone now is used to hearing vocals tuned. And the tonality, they might not even understand that it's not in tune because they don't have the ear for it, but something is not good for them. And you can fight it all you want, but you're not, these are necessary things. And, tune your instruments. Tune the instruments. I mean, these are kind of the basics
Yeah.
that I'm trying
I
to
think
tell.
that's
And
good.
every single day, and even though I feel like a broken record, absolutely every day I am telling someone these same things. Every day I mentor at a school, and every day I'm telling people, different writers, the same thing. So these are the things that will save you a lot of time and effort. And I know, and teaching people how to pitch songs and how to network and how to what magazines and trades and what things to use to help them, in this process.
And I like what you kind of implied before. It's like, it's not like you develop this huge resume and then it's easy. It comes easy after that. You're always having to work it and always having to, learn, like you said, learn something new.
Yes, always. I don't think there's a time ever where you can relax. Unfortunately, because a lot of songwriters don't want to hear that. Young songwriters want to hear, oh, well, as soon as I have that hit, or as soon as I get that publishing deal, or as soon as that artist cuts my song, oh, my life will be so much easier. But it's not like that. It unfortunately is not like that. It doesn't really get any better.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really, really difficult thing to do that we do. This is not easy. And if you want an easy life, do something else. And if you want to make money, this is not a good reason to make music. Like you were saying in the beginning, my motto, music is my air. It is all who I am, all what I do. It is everything for me. I am unemployable. I don't know how to do anything. I don't even use a smartphone. I don't know how to text. I mean, I feel that if you can do something else, you really should, because this is too hard.
It is hard. It is hard
this
nowadays.
is too hard, and we all love it, and we're laughing. We do it, and we're laughing, but this is too hard. So, this is what I mentor people too, is if it's what you live and breathe, and the only thing you can do, oh my God, do it, because certainly I love my life, and you love your life, and certainly the one thing where I've arrived in a place where I can sit here, and I can work out here, but this is not a get rich quick scheme.
Sure, no, definitely not.
So, I try to help people understand they have to work really hard. One person actually once said to me recently that I mentored, he went, "But that's so much work." Well, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I mean.
But let's talk about, because we're nearing the end, but let's talk about what's next, both for you, but maybe for the industry. Excuse me, coughing a lot. And then also I want to talk about the new movie that you got the couple songs in, and maybe you can kind of tell us how that all transpired. So whichever one you want to go with first.
The movie that I have two songs in the movie Downsizing, which is a huge film. And really, the way this came about was amazing.
Yeah.
Because the music supervisor, who I have known forever, and he was always nice, but never uses anything, out of the blue wrote me that he wanted to use a song in this movie for some nice money, and was super excited to tell me. And then he said, and the director also likes another song of yours, but the director, Alexandra Payne, wanted to hear some more of my songs. This music supervisor sent me a list of 200 of my songs that he had compiled, and I cried.
That's great.
I cried because I could not believe that he had compiled and organized my songs that I sent to him one by one by one over the years. That how amazing.
That's a great story.
In my world, I would just think he never listened to anything, he didn't like anything. But he had done this that it was better than getting the placement. It was so massive to me that he had done this. And then I sent him, I could see what he didn't have, and I sent him a bunch of other songs, and he wrote me another day, maybe 2 weeks later, and said, "You are a lucky girl." and he used another song.
Oh, it's so great.
He used two of my songs. But really, honestly, that was the most magical thing. And 3 times this year, I've had songs in projects where I have sent the music supervisor songs for 20, 25 years. They've never used anything. And 3 times this year.
Congratulations.
They showed up, and they had, and I didn't really have to send them a song. They
just had
the songs, and that's why we can't ever give up, right?
Yep.
That's why I pitch. I have 1,600 people on my list, and I send the songs to them, and I never know if really they're listening or not, but I kind of hope.
Yeah.
And this music supervisor really reaffirmed, my faith.
Yes.
That and he actually wrote me. I didn't ask him or say anything, and he wrote me, and he said, "I've just been waiting for the right time, for the right
that's so great.
opportunity."
Comes together.
And yeah, I mean, it was so special to me that whole. It wasn't even the placements, the money that he had done that and kept my songs like that. It was so. I was in the locker room here, and I was telling a TV producer writer about this, and she started crying because she writes screenplays.
Yeah.
And the same, she got it instantly that he had kept all this music, and she was crying too.
Oh.
It's like because
you work so hard, and
so hard. Yes,
a lot of times aren't recognized, and So I think that's just a great thing to end with. But I do have one more question: how people can find more about you, listen to some of these songs. Maybe we have a director watching, and they need songs. So where can we hear some of your songs and learn more about you?
Sure. So my website is Sweeter Songs, one word, sweeter like sugar, sweetersongs.com, just www.sweetersongs.com. And I have about 1,300 songs maybe on my website. And there are... There's a whole listing of songs that are in my personal catalog, and then there are listings of the songs that are in the music libraries that are exclusive, like Mega Tracks and Killer Tracks, and different music libraries, and they're accessible there. And my bio is there, and all kinds of stuff. So
that's so great. And I think that's a lesson too for our aspiring songwriters and how to organize and present your catalog and all that. So hopefully they can go check that out.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to put them all up there. I won't say mine is the most modern.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does the trip.
Yeah.
People can go there and hear music. I will say more often, though, people are asking me, coming to me and me compiling them songs, as opposed to them going to my website.
Through the whole catalog.
Yeah. Well, the whole catalog is in categories.
Okay.
So, it'll say like 1980s style R&B pop. So, they can find the categories, but I find them more that it's easier for them to come to me and compile them individually what they want.
Yeah.
Personally, our goal is to make it easy for them.
Yes.
It's not for them to be easy for us. So whatever they require, that's our mission, is to deliver it that way and make it easy for them. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's so great. We could keep talking forever. And maybe we'll do a second one. Maybe you come visit Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville. I haven't been in a long time.
Yeah.
Last time I was there, I spoke at Songposium or something, the NSAI thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, thank you, Michele. We appreciate you visiting us.
Thank you.
That is this episode of the Producer's Room. Once again, check out Michele at sweetersongs.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we really appreciate you being on here in this lovely weather. And tune in for our next episode. We'll see you later.